Welcome, and thank you for joining me. My name is Carol Boston, and I am excited to be here with you today at the Comeback Champion Summit. Here's one thing I know. I want you to get out pen, paper, notepad, iPad, phone. I'm going to give you what I call some writer-downers. These are going to be golden nuggets and action items that you can put in place today as soon as you finish listening to this talk. Here's another thing I know. Every one of you listening right now has a champion's mindset inside of you. How do I know that? Because there's only two kind of people that show up to hear me speak: champions and champions in the making. Now you might be thinking, but Carol, I don't really feel like a champion right now. Everything feels like it's in chaos. My business isn't growing. I don't know what next steps to take, and it's scary. I understand. I know how you feel, but let me tell you this. You can't be a champion unless you've been in a fight. Right? Maybe this is the fight of your life that's going to catapult everything. But trust me, we just have to activate that champion's mindset. Today, we're going to talk about how to take action, no matter what you feel or how it looks. We're going to talk about daring to be different. That means knowing your value. We're going to talk about owning your power, which means you being unapologetically you. And we're going to talk about advocating for yourself, which means you get really clear and get really comfortable with the word no. When you get comfortable with the word no, your yes becomes way more valuable. I'm going to start off today by challenging you. Are you ready? I'm going to tell you that I believe you do not know who you truly are. You do not know who you were truly created to be. Now, some of you are probably rolling your eyes at me and sitting up and going, I know who I am. I hope you do. But perhaps you'll take my invitation at the end and spend 30 minutes with me. You might find out and be really, really surprised at who you were truly created to be. You see, every prospect that's ever been in front of me, every client that's hired me to coach them, none of them knew who they truly were. When we did the work of clarity. I work with my clients in 5 areas, clarity being number 1. We're only going to be able to touch on a couple today. We don't have time for all of them, but this one is so critical. I take every client, and I have several tools that I use, but from the very beginning, we began to get clear on who they really are, because only when you know can you then own, and can you then step in your power. And when my clients do this, guess what? Magic happens. Yes, many of them have doubled and tripled their income, but there is so many more benefits that they get from doing this work. I get to witness the most amazing transformations. Back in February of 2018, I was hired by a family lawyer. She had been in practice for 4 years and was just basically stuck. Her business wasn't growing. She had several challenges that we uncovered in that business. But part of this first clarity process that we took her through, and I customized this for every client I have, one of the statements that I wanted her to own was, I am a powerful CEO of a fast-growing law firm. Folks, she couldn't say it. She couldn't spit the words out, right? Why? Because in her mind, her business wasn't growing at all. How could she say that she was a powerful CEO of a fast-growing law firm? And because that leap was too big for her, we gave her a sentence to put in front of it. You might want to write this down. I give myself permission to consider. Think about it. I give myself permission to consider that I'm a powerful CEO of a fast-growing law firm. It took her about 8 to 10 weeks maybe. Back in those days, pre-COVID, I had an office. And then one day she walked in. And when she gave me all of her statements, she said, I'm a powerful CEO of a fast-growing law firm. Folks, I want you to know that we create as we speak. It is biblical. God says, call things that aren't as though they are. We have to believe, and then we'll see. And when she believed and put the other strategic action plans in place that I gave her, guess what? Her testimonial on my website is, in the 6 months of working with Carol, I got more clients than I had gotten in the first 4 years of my practice. She believed, and then she saw a fast-growing law firm. She was also willing to dare to be different. What does that mean? In 2018, long before COVID, we actually took her business virtual. As an attorney, that is totally out of the box. You're taught to either get a brick and mortar and hang up your shingle or go into a law firm that has brick and mortar. That's just what attorneys do. It just wasn't working. Wasn't working financially. It wasn't working for a lot of reasons. We got rid of the full-time paralegal, got rid of that extra office space, got her 2 virtual paralegals that she loves, and her business is booming and she's happy. But she was willing to step up and do something different. Is that you? Are you somebody who's ready to step up and dare to be different? If you are, and you would like some support in that, let's have a conversation when all this is over. But first, I want you to come go on a journey with me, and let's discover what it truly means to dare to be different. I come from a really small family. My mother was an only child. My father had 1 brother. His brother had 3 daughters, and then he committed suicide. I'm the only daughter in between 2 brothers. And as the story goes, when my older brother was born, they thought he walked on water because he was going to carry on the family name. And then when my little brother came and my mother was not going to have any more children, oh my gosh, he was so coddled and taken care of because they too wanted him to carry on the family name because our family is so small. Now, I grew up in a very competitive household. One thing you don't know about me is I'm an ex-collegiate professional tennis player, but it was not only all about sports, but it was all about winning. And I recognized very early on in that household that boys were treated very differently than girls. Now, I grew up in the Deep South, also known as the Southern Bible Belt. Actually, today, there are still people that would call it redneck territory, right? Southern Louisiana, that's where I was. Now, there were rules, spoken and unspoken, about the way a girl should act or behave. And my mother wanted everybody to think that she lived behind a white picket fence with 3 perfect children and 2 pets and an amazing husband. Come on, who's out there with me? You had a parent that needed to pretend that everything was always good, even though on the inside, we knew that wasn't what going on. Now, when I was 5 years old, my dad put me on a softball team, and I was really good, but I was too little for those girls. So he took me off, put me back on at the age of 8. Now, we were living in the country, and I'm excited. I'm on my first real softball team. But guess what? Because we were in the country, our bases were cow patties. They were cow patties. Needless to say, I never learned how to slide. And to this day, I don't know how to slide. Now, fast forward 4 years, we moved to a bigger city, and I became, think about it, folks, this is in 1971. I became the first girl to play Little League hardball with the boys. You can imagine the resistance that was coming from my mother. There was all these rules. That's not what a little girl was supposed to do. She was supposed to wear dresses and stay home with her mother and play Barbie doll. And I wasn't doing any of those things. Can you imagine what was going through her mind? Because she needed everybody to know. She lived behind a world of a white picket fence. My mother never dared to be different. Now, I didn't know it then that I was breaking this huge barrier. I just knew that I was having fun and I was good. But when I look back, it was my first step in daring to be different. And while my mother stayed in resistance, I was fortunate that my dad, he was my cheerleader. He would tell people, "Go girl, that's my Carol. She's playing ball and she's playing shortstop." I learned at a very early age that everyone needs a cheerleader. And my clients would tell you I'm their biggest advocate and their cheerleader. Now, do you remember the first time you dared to be different? Think about it. Or perhaps you're one of many, many people that I've met that's still waiting. It feels too risky. They feel like they might be wrong. And they tell me, I just don't feel confident. Here's another writer downer for you. Confidence is not a feeling. Confidence is not a feeling. Confidence is a decision to act, because you can act your way into feeling, but you cannot feel your way into acting. I recently reached out to several of my past clients, and I asked them to give me some benefits of working with me. Now, I knew most of them had doubled or tripled their income. That's a result. I wanted to know some of the benefits of working with me. And I'd like to read you one from one of my clients named Reggie, and he sent me this text. So indulge me, please, while I read it to you. He said, the first benefit I got is I got my confidence back. I feel more secure about myself than I have ever felt. I am now able to always think, what else is possible? That question is always running through my mind whenever I get stuck in a situation. Before I started our coaching sessions, I was nervous. I was intimidated. I wouldn't even look outside my comfort zone. And now I feel like I can apply most of the techniques and lessons I learned to my everyday life, which has helped me grow personally and financially. You help me change and open up my mind to other possibilities. And I know that I am never stuck on one solution. There is always what else is possible. And he put that what else is possible in capital letters. That's a writer downer. Write it down. That is the most powerful of all empowering questions. Now, the caveat with empowering questions is that you don't sit around and try to figure them out. You're telling God and the universe that you're open to seeing something new. I teach in corporate America and in other arenas on empowering questions. I use them with myself and with my clients. You might want to get on my email list because I'm going to be doing a free webinar coming up in the beginning of the new year that you may want to attend. 1 year later, when I was 13, now picture this, a lot of you probably went through this. You finish dinner, the kids have to clean all the dishes, put them in the dishwasher, and everybody gets their homework and they sit down at the kitchen table. Now, my mother happened to be sitting at the kitchen table that night. I don't remember what she said. I don't remember what precipitated that feeling of anger that welled up inside of me. At the time, I wasn't even aware that it was anger because we were not allowed to express anger in our household, right? We had the perfect household. But I clearly remember, I can tell you exactly what I was wearing. And I stood up and I leaned across the table. And I said, you better hope your 2 sons give you grandchildren because you will never, ever get them from me. And I walked out of the kitchen. Think about it. In the face of possibly losing that relationship with my mother, I became more honest. When I found that voice to say yes to me, I became more real. That was a huge victory for me. Girls in that day and age in that area were taught to smile, look pretty, don't make waves, which means don't speak up, right? And make sure you keep everybody else happy. But what are you doing to keep you happy? What are you doing to say yes to you? You'll only know how to say yes to you when you get clear on who you are, own your power, and get comfortable with your no. Now, how does this apply to business and my clients? Often I find, especially with entrepreneurs who are in the early stages of their business, that because they don't know who they are, they listen to way too many people tell them what to do. And some of those things are actually in conflict. They'll start something, stop because somebody else said something. Come on, you know what it is. You've done it. We've all done it. I'm guilty of it early on in my business. It's called chasing shiny objects. It's the shiny object syndrome, right? We do this over and over and over. There's confusion and there's chaos, and we keep looking for something new to save us. But when you get clear on who you are, you won't need to follow everybody else. You'll begin to trust your own instinct and trust your gut and step out and make decisions that serve you and serve your business. I'm here to tell you, don't let the world decide who you are. You decide who you are. You've heard Che Brown say it. Tomorrow is my January 1, right? I say tomorrow is the first page in your new 365-page book. I'm asking you, what are you going to write in your book? If you want to take a deeper dive and get clear on who you are so that you can achieve these great results, make sure at the end of the day we set up and have a conversation and talk about how we can get that done together. Now, one of the things I talk about often is you must trust in someone else's vision for you until you can believe it for yourself. Think about that. Trust in someone else's vision for you until you can think about it. Till you can believe it for yourself. Let's go back to the spring of 1987. I was going through a divorce. I knew that I didn't want to be a tennis teaching professional my entire life. I wasn't quite sure what I wanted to do. And as I'm searching, my car catches on fire. Not only did my car catch on fire, there was some loophole in my insurance and they wouldn't pay for it. Now, I don't have a job, going through a divorce, car catches on fire. What do you think I do? Call my dad. I call my cheerleader. Now, remember, he's really Southern. I call him up and I tell him my situation. Here's what he does. He goes, now, Carol, you know I don't work in that kind of insurance. I can't figure that out. But if you come home, I know somebody will help you get a new car, even without a job. So off I went to Shreveport, Louisiana, got a new car, and decided to go to Dallas, Texas and live with my second cousin. She was head of personnel for Neiman Marcus. Now, she taught me how to buy the navy suit and the pearls and the heels and the the pantyhose. Ladies, aren't you glad? I'm so glad we don't have to wear pantyhose all the time. Now, this is at a time when the U.S. government had just broken up AT&T and all of the baby bells. They broke up the monopoly. So competition in the telecommunications and long distance industry was fierce. Now, I went on a few interviews and I got hired by a company called Metro Media. The lady who hired me said, can you come in tomorrow and meet my boss, the vice president? I said, sure. I go in the next day, I get interviewed again. She kind of looks me up and down and she says, great. I'll see you in Miami in a week. I said, no, you won't. Think about it, folks. What am I doing? I needed a job. I said, you have an office here in Dallas. I'm interviewing in Dallas. My friends from the tennis tour are in Dallas, and my family is 3.5 hours away. I'm working in Dallas. This is a true story. She calmly looked at me again, and she said, I need somebody really strong in Miami in a week. And I'm like, how do you know I'm strong? I've never done this before. And she leaned back, folks, and she looked me up and down, and she said, trust me. And be there in a week. And so I did. And my trusting in her vision for me led to a very successful over 26-year sales career. I hold the vision for my clients of who they were truly created to be so that we can throw an anchor into their future and they can let go of the story that's holding them in their past. Yes, I had a very successful 26-year sales career, ATT, Sprint, Paychecks. I love large corporations. I was a weird salesperson, right? I love structure, and I'm a rule follower. Most salespeople are not rule followers. So I had sold over $70 million in revenue, walked across the stages, gotten the awards, managed off and on over 100 people. I could do this in my sleep, and I thought I had it made. Until the day I didn't. Until the day I got that call in the summer of 2014. And they told me they were cutting my territory by 80%. I'm like, 80%? I've been building this territory for 6.5 years. You didn't have to tell me twice, folks. I knew I needed to look for another job. They were setting me up to fail, I thought. Now, I love large corporations, but a friend whispered in my ear about an opportunity at a small company. So off I went on the interview. They interviewed me twice and they offered me the position. They doubled my base salary plus commissions, and they gave me a director title. I mean, I could just see the potential both for income and for growth, and I was excited. Now, I negotiated a vacation up front in my contract because I'd already paid for this vacation. So there I was 6 weeks into my job on vacation. Picture it, beautiful, beautiful Albuquerque, New Mexico, at the world's largest hot air balloon festival. Hundreds and hundreds of balloons fill the sky of all sizes and shapes and colors. It is amazing. If you've never been, I'm going to encourage you to go. Now, at that time, I was being what I thought a good employee was, and I was staying in touch with my boss, the CEO, while I was on vacation. Now, I do not advocate that for my clients anymore. I tell them, honey, when you're on vacation, you're on vacation, right? But there I was, and I got an email asking my opinion on something. And so I responded right away, and I waited. And I waited because he usually responds quickly, but he didn't. We went out, we enjoyed our day. We came back in about 12 hours later after dinner. Ding, my phone says, Carol Boston, you've got mail. And here's what it said. It said, Carol, comma, that's what you really think? And it had 5 question marks behind it. Then it said, don't bother coming into this office when your vacation is over because you're done here. What? I got fired? I just got fired in an email for giving an opinion that I was asked for. One of the reasons I help people advocate for themselves now, folks, is I didn't advocate for myself back then. I came back to Florida, had an interview the very next day. I had a very successful career. And I interviewed all over this country, all over, 3 and 4 interviews deep. I was on airplanes, off airplanes, interviews, out interviews. I interviewed over and over and over to no avail. And I thought, how ironic that I can close all of those deals to sell $70 million for somebody else, and I can't close a deal to get myself a job. Now, I was depleting my 401k. Faith is my foundation. It's where I always go, especially when I'm at a crossroads. And there I was in my prayer time many months into this, and I said, God. Yeah, I really did. Yeah, folks, I was at that point. And I said, look, you made me. You know I'm not cut out to be an entrepreneur. I do not want to own my own business. You got to help me find a good job. 2 weeks to the day from that prayer, out of the blue, I get an email from a woman that I met one time out of town at a conference. She and I maybe chatted for 30 minutes, and guess what she did? She gifted me a $3,500 ticket to go to Los Angeles to begin studying at Guerrilla Business School. Now, I tell folks, my God has a sense of humor because Guerrilla Business School is a foundational school for entrepreneurs. What I was doing wasn't working. And I figured, I don't know what I don't know. So guess what I did? Got on a plane and off I went. Went to Los Angeles. And the very first thing I learned is you can't read the label when you're inside the jar. And we're all in a jar. That's why I believe we all need a coach. The second thing I learned was empowering questions. You heard me mention them earlier. I was amazed at what they could do. And I knew that I had to master them. So I began studying with the best of the best, not only in empowering questions, but in leadership. Studying with John Maxwell, Michael Eisner, Lisa Nichols, on and on. I was investing well over 6 figures in my own personal growth, education, and into coaching certifications. But guess what? I didn't own who I was. So I was hesitant to be all in, to be a coach. So I still had these 3 little other services that I was trying to sell into different corporations. Why was I doing that after spending all this money in myself? It was familiar. Often, folks, we will run back to our familiarity zone. It may not even be comfortable, but it's familiar. I learned that I had to get out of my comfort zone if I was going to grow. That's a writer downer for you. We only grow outside of our comfort zone. Now, I want you to do something with me real quick. I want you to close your eyes. Come on, close your eyes. Take a deep breath in. Let it out. Keep your eyes closed. And I want you to picture a turtle, your favorite turtle. Is it a little green turtle? Is it a big, weathered, old brown turtle? But what I want you to see in your mind is only the turtle shell. You can't see its head or its legs. Now, in your mind, I want you to have that turtle poke its head out and poke its legs out and start walking. Is it walking? Awesome. Now the turtle stops. And what does it do? It puts its head back in the shell and its legs back in the shell. And you can open your eyes now, because here's what I want you to remember from that. The turtle only makes progress when it sticks its neck out. What are you willing to do? What are you willing to risk to get what you say you want? What are you willing to do to make your dreams come true? If you would like support in getting stronger, in taking risks, and getting out of your comfort zone and daring to be different, if you want to support from someone who's done it, then let's make sure we chat after this talk is over. Here's something that I learned that's powerful that I want to share with you. There is a world of difference between commitment and conviction. It's a writer downer. You see, folks, they say I'm committed, right? But people get decommitted every day. Think about it. I am committed to this marriage for life until the day I'm not, right? I'm committed to losing this 20 pounds. Well, maybe next Monday or next month or next year, and then we don't do it, and we don't even realize that it's insidious, that we're eroding self-trust. Here's another thing you need to know. Your comfort and your convenience and your conviction don't live on the same block. They're not even in the same zip code. Are you willing to get uncomfortable and get convicted? Because when you're convicted, you will not rest until you get it done. And that's why I'm here in front of you today. I've had people tell me, but if I'm different, it makes me wrong. Let's talk about that, because I don't believe that. Now let's go back to August of 1982. I had been in Florida for 5 years selling. And this is the month when Hurricane Andrew, one of only 4 Category 5s, flattened so much of South Florida. I mean, flattened, demolished. And there I was in my apartment. I lived a little bit north of the zone that got flattened, but I still got a big hurricane. And of course, the electricity went out. The week before the hurricane, I had had emergency surgery. It was my 6th one in like 3 years. It was kind of a crazy time. So my father happens to call after the hurricane passes to check up on me. And he hears about the hurricane and he hears about my surgery. And he goes, "Oh man, Carol, it's terrible that you're down there all by yourself going through all this." Now, folks, without thinking, without hesitation, I said, "I'm not by myself." He said, "You're not. Who's there with you?" And I said, my girlfriend Kim." He said, "What do you mean your girlfriend Kim?" And so I told him. And that's how I came out to my parents. I was totally comfortable in my own skin. Now, from that day in August of 1992 until November 2001, over 9 years, when my mother passed away, she was dead. She was buried. She had had cancer for 2 years and nobody told me. You see, she quit speaking to me. She quit speaking to me because I dared to be different. What are you willing to give up to be you? Think about the power she had over my family. No one in my family for 2 years told me she was sick. My father actually lied to a friend of mine at my mother's funeral and said, "Oh, Carol's in Miami. She's too busy to come to the funeral." How do you think that made me feel? Now, you might be thinking, how in the world does this story apply to me and my business, Carol? I'm not gay. That's okay. But you are different, aren't you? We're all different. I've embraced my being different. I've embraced it in my life. I embraced it in my career. I now embrace it in my business. My differentness is the source of my power. Are you embracing that you're different? Does it make you feel uncomfortable? Are you trying to fit in? Are you trying to run and mold your business like everybody else? Does your website look like everybody else? Does your Facebook ads look like everybody else? When you get up to talk, does it sound like everybody else? If you're doing all that, you're probably not getting the results that you want. Here's something that's powerful that I want you to walk away with. God gave you a fingerprint that nobody else in the world has ever had or will ever have. And that's so that you can leave a unique handprint on the world. Are you playing small? Are you hiding? Are you not stepping up and daring to be different and owning who you are so that you can play on a big stage and make the impact that you were put here to make? I would love to be the person that helps you embrace your differentness so you can step up and play big in the world. A second area, I told you we were only going to touch on 2, that I work with my clients in is mindset mastery. Powerful, powerful piece of work that we do. I happen to be known as the queen of reframe. What does that mean? You can bring me just about any situation or challenge, and I can reframe it for you, turn it around and give you a positive spin on it, and give you a strategic action plan and wording to take it forward in your life. You see, we have blocks to owning who we are, don't we? But as a breakthrough strategist, I help my clients in this area, and it's a powerful, powerful thing in my 6-month program. Now, I had a client She had several blocks. She owned her own dog training company. And we're going to talk about mindset, but remember, the first piece we work on is clarity. So when we started working on clarity with her, one of the things she said to me is, I am accepting of the fact that I am slow. I was like, whoa, what? No. You don't tell the queen of reframe something like that and think you're going to get away with it. I said, scratch that off your list and replace it with, I am perfect just as I am. You see, once again, folks, that leap was too big. She couldn't say it. She was so uncomfortable. She couldn't look in the mirror and she couldn't say it, period. So we gave her that phrase, I give myself permission to consider. And so once again, I don't remember if it's 8 weeks, 10 weeks, 12 weeks, but one day she walked in and she said, I am perfect just as I am. Powerful. Now, from a mindset mastery piece, this client, when she first came to see me, she was on time. I had an office pre-COVID. By the fourth visit, she was so late, it was ridiculous. Now, I'm a hugger, and I miss that right now. She came in the office. I gave her a big hug, set her down, and I said, get out your pen and paper. This is a great coaching opportunity. And she kind of looked surprised at me because we don't typically start that quickly, but I couldn't let this go by. I said, write this down. I want you to write this down too. This is a writer downer for those of you that are listening to me. How I do anything is how I do everything. Think about it. How I do anything is how I do everything. Now, if you were in that situation, what would you do? I know what you would do. You would want to give me a defensive story and tell me why you were late, right? Come on, you're a human being. We all would do it. And that's what she started to do. And I'm like, no. This is not about you being late. She said, it's not? Nope. She said, what's it about? And I said, this is about where else in your life are you not showing up for you? She looked up at me and she says, what? I said, write it down. This is a writer downer for you in the audience, folks. Where else in your life are you not showing up for you? I said to her, you pay me in advance for my time. I'm not giving you money back. I'm not giving you extra time because I have a set of clients and I keep a schedule. She kind of looked at me. She says, is this my homework for the week? I said, honey, that is your homework ad nauseum. I want it on the mirror. I want it on the refrigerator. I want it on your dashboard. I want you putting it out to God and the universe several times a day. And remember, you're not to sit around and try to figure it out. Now, I want you to listen to how I worded that question. 99% of the people, maybe more, in the world would have said to her, why are you late? Empowering questions never start with the word why, ever. Why brings in defensiveness, which brings in a lot of other things that we can't go into today. But my question started with where, because empowering questions help you get curious. They help you ponder. Several more weeks into our work together, we're working on a business challenge, and she looked at me and her eyes got really big and she goes, oh my God. And I said, what? She said, that's another area where I'm not showing up for me. And I said, exactly. And folks, as she began to see these areas where she was self-sabotaging and we implemented new strategies, everything changed. We doubled the income of her company in 6 months. Think about it. I said earlier, you can't read the label when you're inside the jar, but I can read your label and I can help you write a new label and I can help you reframe so that you too can throw an anchor into your future and let go of that story. What is the story that you're holding on to that's no longer serving you today? I can see you for who you were created to be, and I hold that vision for you. I want you to think about that. If I reframe you once, I've done you a favor. But if I teach you how to reframe every challenge and situation in your life, I have transformed you. And that, my friends, is why I'm here. That's what I'm all about. Ask yourself this, where are you self-sabotaging? Think about it. It's not just that in working with me, you're going to make more money. You are going to make more money. But when we work together, my program's going to not only help you get clear on who you are, own who you are, grow in confidence, you're going to make better business decisions. And you're not going to make emotional decisions. They're not going to come from where I feel this. You're going to make strong, solid business decisions You're going to put a better strategic action plan in place, and you're going to stick to it. And you're going to learn some amazing tools that allow you to pivot very quickly if something isn't working. And you're going to do it without judgment. We're going to upgrade your skill set in my program. You are, without a doubt, going to become a more effective and more skilled communicator. And yes, of course, you're going to make more money and create the business of your dreams. We talked earlier about you knowing you at the deepest level. I believe you're a champion and a leader. So let's work together to uncover all those deep places where you don't believe that you're a champion, where you don't believe that you're a leader, where you continue to self-sabotage and play small. And let's replace them with the knowing of who you were created to be. Ask yourself, are you ready to do that? My clients, one of the words they use to describe me, they will tell you I am relentless in sticking with them to make sure that they get great results. One of my superpowers is I can laser in to the root of the problem very, very quickly. All of the symptoms, I get right by all those. Those are just excuses. We take that unhealthy root and we pluck it from the soil, and we plant the seeds and nurture the seeds of the flower that we want to grow. I'm going to ask you, what's in your garden? I can help you on your journey. I can hold your hand. I will be your guide along the way as we take that deep dive into getting clear on who you are and putting that strategic action plan into place. It takes courage. I know it does. No one does it alone. I don't do it alone. Oprah Winfrey doesn't do it alone. Did you know that Oprah Winfrey at one point had 4 coaches? 4. And when asked why she had 4 coaches, she said, well, no one is an expert in all 4 quadrants of my life. And I want to know that I'm living all of my life to the fullest level. Are you ready to do that? Are you living all of your life to the fullest level? I work with entrepreneurs and business owners. They're established. Maybe they've been in business a year to 10 years. They're making a little money, but they're stuck, or they feel lost, or right now they don't know what the next step is to take. But the ones that choose me, that work with me, they are decisive and they are action takers. Is that you? Are you ready to say no to the things that you're doing that aren't serving you? Or is this you? Are you ready to say yes to your success, your financial success, your personal success, and your leadership success? Then continue the conversation with me. Even if you think you've heard all of this before, honestly, I know you haven't, because the people that work and talk about empowering questions are few and far between. But let's just say that you have that mindset right now, and it's going, I already know this. I already know this. Let me tell you something. As soon as you say, I know this already, your brain shuts down. You can't learn anything new. You're doing yourself a disservice. Even if you think you've heard all this before, today is your day. Just like Chase said, it's the first day. Today's the day you take action. Are you committed or are you convicted? Are you ready to go after the things that you say you really want? Remember, if you're convicted, you won't rest until you get it done. How badly do you want it? And what are you choosing? The point of power, folks, is in the present moment. So you have to ask yourself, what am I choosing right now? Make a decision. Everybody that's watching, get your phone out. Get your phone out right now. I'm going to wait a second. I want you to get it out because you're going to send a text. And you're going to send a text to 954-616-9024. And if you're interested in just having another conversation with me and see what that looks like, in your text, I want you to put Chase sent me. Just put Chase sent me. And if you remember to put your name and your email in there, that would be great. If not, I'll text you back and make sure I get it. And we'll get that scheduled and set up and see what it would look like for you to work with me and have me hold your hand and get those kind of results that I'm getting from my clients. Perhaps you're not ready to have that conversation, but you would like to learn more. Perhaps you would just want to come to my free webinar. Text to 954-616-9024 and just put webinar in there. Once again, Put your name and email. I'll get you on my list. Or perhaps you're that person that's really interested. Maybe it's been too much information. You've heard my story. It's okay that you don't want to have a conversation with me, but I would love to hear your story. So let's get connected. There's several ways to do that. All of my social media, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, you can find me at the @ put at the THE Carol Boston. At the Carol Boston will get you onto all my social media. Perhaps you're not ready to have a conversation, but you would like to learn more about what I do and how I serve my clients. Please come join my Facebook group. It's called Year with No Fear. Year with No Fear. I recently had a 21-day summit, and I had the most amazing top entrepreneurs from across the world, as far away as Portugal and Nigeria, share their best tips, tools, strategies, and tactics to help you confidently, strategically, and boldly grow your business. And you're going to get those, plus more, in this group. Once again, text to 954-616-9024. You're going to either text, Chase sent me, and we're going to have a conversation. You're going to text webinar, and you're going to get to learn more about how empowering questions can radically change your life. Or you're going to follow me at social media and join my Facebook group called Year with No Fear. Thank you so much for your time today. I trust this has been of value. Please reach out to me and let me know. I look forward to seeing you in my group, to connecting in social media, and for those of you that are ready to take your life to the next level, we're going to have a conversation. Go in peace. God bless. And if you remember nothing else from this talk, remember, what else is possible?